It's been a while since I've done a DIYary, and I've done quite a few things in the house over the last few months, so I guess it's time I shared them with you. You're gonna get a double intro today, so I'm gonna try and keep this quick, but I have been working on these projects in the house for such a long time now, and I just felt like there wasn't enough to pack into this video. So I'm gonna let past Hermione tell you what she's up to. She still has blonde hair, so this was definitely a good 4 or 5 weeks ago. And then I will be back and I'll finish up the video with what we've done since. So over to you, past Hermione.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a home renovation DIYary, which is a video that I put together featuring lots of little things that I'm doing around my house to turn it from dusty old crumbly Victorian house to really comfy cozy home that I absolutely love. It's definitely getting there, but there's still a few things I need to do around here to get this house looking ship shape. So that's what we're going to do in today's video. And today's video is very kindly sponsored by Datacolor. I'm using their Color Reader Easy to help me match a few paint colors around the house in one of the projects I'm tackling today. If you want to learn a little bit more, I'll show you that later in the video, but for now, let's start in chronological order. I painted some cabinets green because I felt like it, so let's get into it. So here is the before of the laundry room. As you can see, I picked a messy day to film this. There's lots of clean clothes that need to be taken upstairs and stuff on the sides that needs to be put back into its place. So that's the first thing I did, give it a really good tidy up and take everything away. I can't believe how much stuff ends up on these countertops. All of this stuff comes from the cupboards below, like the gardening supplies and the laundry stuff. It doesn't need to be here. I don't need to leave it this messy. So I'm hoping a fresh lick of paint will keep me in check and make me have a reason to keep this nice and tidy. Anyway, I tried a few tester pots from Valspar. I picked these 2 greens and I let them dry. While they were drying, I took off all of the hardware from the cupboards. There's really no need to paint around these because they're so easy to take off and put back on again. And there were also a couple of holes on the top cabinets where I didn't realize they hadn't been filled the first time for some reason, so I filled those very quickly with just a little bit of filler and let that dry. And once it was dry, I was ready to get on with the painting. Before going in with the first coat, I gently sanded the fronts of the cabinets to make sure they were nice and smooth for the first application. I finished this off camera. There I am looking as if I've finished the whole thing, but I hadn't. I went and did it off camera. Anyway, I then started going in with my green paint when it was done, and as you can tell, I really like this colour. I think it's really fun and a bit different, and you know what, if I decide to sell one day, I can paint them white or something a little bit more to everyone else's taste. But I just love changing things up with a pop of colour without having to paint an entire room. The longer I have this house, the more I realise that lighter colours on the wall are easier to maintain, and fun colours on cabinets and in bedding and pillows and curtains and things like that is the way I want to go forward with adding pops of colour, because it's so much easier to change out than painting an entire room. So I'm nearly finished with the first coat. Keyword nearly, don't get too excited, Hermione, it's not finished yet. But once it was finished, I did let the first coat dry, which looked a bit patchy at first, but it's okay. We're going in with a second. And of course, before I went in with that second coat, I went in with a light grit sandpaper once more, again to make sure that the whole finish was going to be nice and smooth. Even though I am using a brush because it's a shaker style cabinet, I wanted to get in all the grooves. I still wanted it to be as smooth as possible.
I am so pleased with how this project turned out. I know this green isn't going to be everyone's taste, but it's perfect for my plant room because let's face it, My plants own this home, not me, so my laundry room is actually their plant room. I haven't really styled the space, I've just let my plants kind of take over. I do have a little bit of worktop left for folding clean laundry, so not all has gone to waste, but I'm just really pleased with how this makes the space look. It feels a lot brighter and more fun and colourful in here, and if I do decide to sell the house one day and I think green might be a little bit too garish, I can always paint them white because this was just an afternoon's worth of work that made a huge difference to my happiness and to my plant room. Moving on to the next project. Now, I can't believe it, but I've actually been living in this house for 3 years now. Time has flown by, but it's been a long enough amount of time for me to have a little bit of wear and tear throughout the property, especially in my hallway, which is an area that gets scratched and scraped all the time. I fell down the stairs with my Hetty Hoover in hand last year and gouged a big scratch into the wall. I also got some paint on the wall when I was doing my hallway makeover. Didn't have my glasses on, so I didn't notice until the other day, but the paint from the mirror scratched the wall, and there's just lots of little areas where there's bumps and scratches. However, the paint that I used in this hallway is completely discontinued. It was called Victorian Lace and it was a B&Q own brand colour, and they don't do it anymore, and they couldn't even colour match it for me, so I was gutted. Why? Because the hallway is very high and you need scaffolding to paint it. I'm not about to do that, so that is where my Datacolor Colour Reader Easy comes in. This little gadget helped me match the paint on my wall, and I took it into B&Q and they were able to give me the exact colour that I needed to repair the patches on my wall. It will colour match to a variety of different paint brands, including Valspar and Farrow & Ball, which I know you can pick up quite easily here in the UK. You can also get the hex and the RGB codes for a really custom colour. To put it to the test, I used it in a few areas of my house just to show you how well this works. I used a Farrow & Ball colour in this bathroom, and I want to see if my colour reader can pick it up. Comfort white! Look at that. That's so cool. I'm always amazed by this every time I use it. And just to prove to you that this is the perfect colour match, here is an area of the paint where you can see a little scuff, and I've only done one coat, so you can still see the scuff underneath, but you can tell exactly how well the colour blends into the wall. This handy little gadget can match colours to anything that you own, so if you want to match it to your cushions or your curtains, you can do that without having to take the entire curtain into the shop with you. It has some very handy features. You can save colours, and you can also make complementary colour profiles automatically that match the colour that you've just created with some that go really well with it. If you want to check out Datacolor and their Colour Reader Easy, I'm going to link it down below. I'm so impressed with how it's helped me patch up my hallway. This is how the hallway turned out, by the way. Moving on, one of the projects I've been putting off for a very long time is finally finishing the doors in my upstairs hallway. It was a long project, so let's get into it. Okay, so there's certain parts of my house that you never see because, quite frankly, it's really dark. It is the middle of the day on a sunny day and I've got the ring light on, so that's how dark it is in here. So you never really see my upstairs hallway, and for that reason I have put off painting the doors here until one of the last projects that I really need to do. And actually I kind of forgot that they were as awful as they are for about a year. And when I looked at them the other day, I was like, I could really do with painting those. I did paint some of the trim maybe like 2 years ago, but I painted it in a Dulux gloss, which yellows really badly. So I have been using satin wood around the rest of my house, and I'm gonna just do the entire thing. Doors, architrave, skirting board, everything. So we might be here for a few hours. Enjoy the montage.
I started by cleaning off all of the baseboards, which gave me a bit of a shock.
Oh, this is going to be a long day.
That it was, Hermione. That it was. Anyway, I highly recommend cleaning all of the trim before you go into paint, because even if some of the pieces are quite new, you never know how much grease and grime they can pick up. And in an old house like this, oh, it really needs a good clean. I then also sanded down some of the areas that were looking a little bit worse for wear, and I taped up all of the doors to make sure I wasn't going to get any paint on the walls. Although I do have my colour match sample pot now that I can use if I do, but still, I wanted to make sure to protect these surfaces as much as possible.
Oh my god! Look at the colour difference. What? Okay, let's keep going.
I always thought that my doors were kind of white, but I didn't realise that they're actually completely yellow. So this was very, very much needed. And there are a few cracks in these doors which you'll see me fix later, but I always like to do one coat first to see truly how bad the damage is and where it needs a pick-me-up. I did the trim, I did the baseboards, I did everything. It was a long day, but it was so worthwhile doing. And then this door, this is the door to my office, and I'm embarrassed to admit I had never even painted this side of the door. If you're wondering why I'm painting it grey, it's because I decided to prime it to make sure none of the knots would come through. The only primer I had was this grey one. Not ideal, but I'm trying not to go out too often at the moment with everything going on. So I thought I would make do, and it did the job, so it was fine. Once it was dry, I was able to coat it in about 3 coats of the satin wood to make sure it was completely covered, and so that this door matches with all of the rest of them. The door to my bedroom also needed a quick touch up as well, so I gave that 1 coat of paint, but that wasn't the worst one. The worst one is going to the small bathroom. It's horrendous. This door is so horrible. I never finished the other side of it. I was too keen to get it on and finish the bathroom. So once again, I painted it to see where the damage was, as if it wasn't already obvious, and then I went in with my filler and I filled all of the holes. I used a whole tube of filler on this, and I did actually use my fingers to go along all the architrave, which is not ideal again, but I tried to use this squeegee on the flat areas and it worked really well. So if you have flat doors or flat walls, a squeegee tool will do the best job of covering cracks like this. I thoroughly enjoyed how nice and smooth it made it. Anyway, once it was all dry, I was able to give it another coat and a half of paint, let that dry, and the hallway is nearly finished. Just one thing left to do, which is peel off all of the tape. So satisfying. Anyway, this is how the hallway and the landing turned out, and I know the before footage wasn't very good, but I hope you can tell that this was such a huge difference and such a simple task that I'd just been putting off for a really long time, but I'm really glad it's done now, and it's one more thing ticked off of the list.
We're back at the present day, and I wanted to fill you in with a couple of other things that have been happening around the house that have just been wrapped up. Something I really wanted to get done was I wanted to have the outside of the house painted. There are a few areas that were just looking a little flaky, not so brilliant, and I decided to get a decorator who I've had in a few times. He's brilliant. I got him to do these things for me, and it really brightened up the look of the house. It's mainly around the back of the house where it was looking really shabby. The windowsills were not looking their best, and now they're really beautiful and a bright white colour that makes the house look so much tidier. Obviously, I don't want to share too much of the front of the house for privacy reasons, but there are a few clips here where I think you can see truly how bad it was, and this is what it's looking like now. It's so much better, and I'm really pleased it was finally done. It's one of those things that you kind of do towards the end of a project, but you wish you'd done it sooner. Anyway, something else that I've talked a little bit about on this channel is I got the last bit of plastering done for now in this house. I got the small bedroom plastered. You might have seen last year when I had my bathroom renoed, I took a little bit of space from this box room and made it into more of a single room rather than a room that could fit a double bed, because I really needed the extra space for the bathroom. This actually used to be a communal kitchen, so there were tiles on the wall, a fire extinguisher. I also didn't like the look of the ceiling, so I knew I had to get it plastered before I did a makeover in here. I found a new plasterer to do the job, and he did it in about 2.5 days, I think, and it is so beautifully smooth. He's done a phenomenal job on it. I'm so happy. I have been putting off doing the makeover in here because I know I need to do something about the floors, and it probably involves sanding. It's getting a little bit warm as well, so I'm just not too keen on the idea of getting really hot and sweaty and sanding the floors, but I know I need to do it soon because I've got to finish this house at some point. So I'm hoping that I can finally make over this room very, very soon, but we'll see how long I argue internally with myself about that. Anyway, if you're doing a renovation, I hope it's going well for you. Good luck with it. If you want to check out Data Colour, I'm going to leave them linked below. And with all of that being said, happy DIYing, and I'll see you next time. Bye.